Vera, 2022. What a year.
What a year.
What is there one word or one phrase or one way you can describe what the year has been?
Incredible. Unpredictable. Roller coaster.
Yeah. Because when you started out at the start of the season, obviously the campaign is midway through, but if you just take from the calendar year, the first camp in Spain, the Pinatar Cup, all the way to the end, back in Spain, funnily enough, finishing off against Morocco, but all of it in between. When you went to the Pinatar Cup, did it feel real that this could be the place that we could end up in?
Yes, yeah, because after we missed out on the Euros in Ukraine, we said to each other, whatever happens, we are going to the World Cup. And that has been in our bones, in our system from that moment. And of course you need luck. We've had some luck, but we've also forced our luck. And the passion that we've put in together, players and staff, is something that is so special and that you only experience one or twice in your career. And this year will be the year that this team will never ever forget. Of course, starting with it's the first, but the way that it has been developed and the way that we were concentrating on every single training session, every single team meeting, everything was related to a little step further. Every time a little step further. And yeah, you're talking now about the Pinatar Cup. It feels so long ago. It feels so long ago. We were playing Russia actually in the Pinatar Cup, and a few days later the war started. So it's been a journey with every time a step forward, every time a step forward. And we took it game by game, aim by aim, target by target, and we did not allow other things to come in. And I think that has been the key to success.
Was that deliberate on your part in the same way of in the previous year playing against higher ranked opposition to test the players so that they could go higher and higher? Was it the same with each camp that you wanted to take it up that extra little bit?
Yeah, yeah. We always make a planning for each camp, and we start off what is the aim of this week, and that aim is every time a step forward in our football performance. So the opponents are that we invite on those moments or that we sign up with are related to the targets that we make. Now going to the World Cup and setting our preparation program, we have an idea of what kind of opponents we need at what moment. So it's not even if we want, but we need. And that means that with other opponents we say no, we just do not jump on any opportunity. We only jump on the opportunity when it's the right opportunity. We have, for example, a country that I've said no, different playing style. But now, because of a second other country coming into our slot, our window, this country is suddenly becoming very, very useful for us. So that is the way we approach it. We don't take anything for granted, but we also do not jump on anything. We know what we want, we know the quality that we need, we know what, when, how, which steps we're going to make towards the World Cup, and then at the World Cup we will see if we can get the best out of the place and if we've grown again with each other.
Progression, as from a collective point of view you've spoken about, it's hard sometimes to overlook the individual progression. Even I fully understand as a coach you focus on the collective, but sometimes when you break it down, the individual performances and the development, and someone like Courtney Brosnan over the course of this year, like it's been building and building, but this year came to fruition and some unbelievably outstanding performances. I just wondered, obviously Courtney has been brilliant and she's benefited from the move to Everton, but the impact of her working closely with Jan Willem van Eyde, who you've worked with quite a lot in your career, and I just wondered if you could give a bit of an insight to the influence that he's had on Courtney?
Yeah, of course you need to ask him also, but I'm with every meeting that he has with the goalkeepers, and of course I'm there when he works on the pitch. And what I find amazing, what makes him so good, if you compare him with many other goalkeeping coaches, is that for him the positioning is the key thing, and he cannot develop the technique of the goalkeepers. That's up to the club. But what he does so well, and he uses video and every single training session, is that you only go for the best with every shot that you get, but he's working especially on the positioning of the players. And I think it's okay to be open about, for example, the Sweden game. That was the first moment that she really made that big jump into her performance. The whole week they've been busy with, when the ball comes from the side, her positioning being further towards the center of the goal, so that she is capable of protecting the front post, but equally when balls are coming over, in the positioning to cover the other side. And the meeting that we had after the game with her was not about the fantastic saves that she made. And Jan Willem said, you can look at them yourself and you can enjoy them yourself. I'm not putting them into this meeting. What I'm putting into this meeting is the difference between when you were how you were positioning yourself before and how you position yourself now. And with the clips that you could see on the video screen, you could see what a difference it makes and how she has made her life so much easier. He showed a few saves that are not called saves because she was in the right position, because of her better positioning. And she's now dominating that area because of her positioning. And that is what Jan Willem is always working on. Within the details. For example, if you dive to a ball, he's always stressing on attacking the ball forward. And he says, if you cannot get it here, you also cannot get it there. And many female goalkeepers are somehow falling backwards and getting the ball there. And so you push the ball your own goal. But you need to ask Jan Willem for the details. But that is what he's always stressing on. And every shot he demands of the players to go forward. That's the only technical part that really stands out in what he's doing. Other than that, every single small-sided game, big-sided game, he's there and he's discussing all the training sessions with the players. And then especially the positioning. And I think that makes him standing out. If you look at Courtney, that has made a difference. And of course at Everton, they work fantastically with her. But Jan Willem and the goalkeeping coach are also in very close contact about her developments, as well as with the other goalkeeping coaches of our national team players. You can say, even though we're in once a month and many months are skipped, we only have 6 slots, 6 windows of the FIFA, every camp they're getting better and better.
In terms of this year, was there a moment or a game that you felt this is going to happen? We're going to qualify. I know you can probably say when the referee blew the whistle at 90 minutes in Hampden Park, maybe, but was there a moment earlier in the campaign where you kind of felt that this was achievable?
It sounds strange, but it's a friendly against Australia. That was the turning point, and it was planned to be the turning point. But of course, you need to experience and indeed see the turning point. As everybody knows, we had 7 games that we had lost, and we kept going for strong opponents because that turning point had to come. And that only comes if you have to play above your level, if you have to make that step forward. And that moment against Australia, although the next game against Australia will be of a complete different level, but that turning point gave I think the players realized after that game, we can do it. After that game, we had a little party in the hotel because everybody felt this is the moment. Now we know that we will qualify, that we go for it. And of course we had luck. And of course at the end of the campaign, the results of the opponents went our way. That is part of the process. But we knew that we would qualify. It was so deep down inside. Although you don't say it out loud, although you don't, you never know if a referee will give a penalty kick or no penalty kick, or if a ball ends up on the crossbar or not. But the vibe in the squad was so different than the European campaign. There was such a, I don't want to say confidence, such a knowledge of how we would qualify. And such a trust that we needed the steps during the year to get there. And beating Finland for the second time, of course, was a major moment, because that gave us the playoffs. And then beating Slovakia, the fact that the team was, after that explosion, ready again. Remember that I said we will celebrate but not party now, because we have another little thing to do. The fact that the players were absolutely ready again on the Tuesday, that is something that hardly any team can show. At that moment we knew, we said to each other, we are going to qualify, because this focus of this team with this staff, you will not find again.
One of the nice things, I mentioned the individuals in Courtney, is the resilience shown by some of the players to come back from injuries, but also to stay in and around the squad and not to give up. And I think two examples of Anya O'Gorman and Megan Campbell are great in that.
Yeah.
Great examples for young players. Megan, with so many injuries that she's had to fight back, comes back at the tail end of the campaign, gets a starting place and has a real impact. And Anya, who had started and then, drifted down, but every time turned up, fought hard in training, and then ends up starting the Scotland game at the end. It shows the character of those players. I think that's a nice example for young players, isn't it?
Yeah. It's two complete different examples. Sure. One fighting back from injury and not giving up and getting that operation and focusing on getting back. And Onya, who had retired, was coming back. And there was the moment, I remember well, Iceland away, that there was this moment like, is this the moment to retire? Is this the moment to go on? And she said, I'm not finished. I'm just not finished with football yet. We had a discussion about it, and she decided, I'm going back to train with boys because I'm not finished. I want to be in this squad. And immediately your level went up again. And she keeps training with boys and investing at the age of 33, right? She keeps investing in her own game, and she's getting better and better and better still. The last weeks, I've never seen her like this before. And she's a core player, and she's back in the lineup, and nobody can even think of missing her. So it's a key example of that if you invest in a player, if you focus as a player, anything is possible.
You mentioned the progression of the players. Have you progressed as a coach, do you think, over this year? Are you a better coach from the Pinatar Cup to the Morocco one?
Well, I'm almost 60 next month, so 1 year will not make a difference. But what has grown me this year is that if the bond is so strong that you really work together. You do it together with everybody around you, with the staff and the players. And for me personally, it was a very difficult year also, but the way that I've been supported by everybody and the way that got a connection between us, I learned this year that connection brought out also an energy and an absolute will with each other to not only support each other, but get the best out of each other. And I think that you can only experience that when you go through like a hole like I've done this year. If you say, have you learned as a coach? What I've learned is that you can always lean on each other. and you can always have. Now I'm getting emotional, but you can always rely on the ones that are true,
Sure.
and the Irish are true. In the squad, the FAI, everybody has supported me, and that brought out the best out of myself on moments that it was virtually impossible.
Have you thought about the World Cup in the sense of, you're probably thinking of the workload in advance that's coming? Like I've got all these camps, I've got all this scouting to do, I've got all this research to do, dealing with all the players. Have you thought about the excitement of what it's going to be at the World Cup? Like, has that kind of sunk in at all?
That was there, and it's now work in progress. There's so much to do, but we have such a great staff. So dividing the tasks, and then every month we come together and we discuss it. With the technical staff, we're constantly progressing. And it is from all the individual talks with the players and the aims and targets per individual to what kind of opponents do we need when, how do we put it in. The players from Ireland, of course everybody knows that 2 times training is not enough to go to the World Cup. So with the coaches we had a meeting, and we're putting in a winter program and individual programs, and we offered that to the other players of the Women's National League too. Our home-based sessions will be more frequently. We will work in blocks, and we'll use those sessions to get the football conditioning up of those players. Sometimes you want to actually be in the dark, but we are in the spotlights, so helping us with being in the spotlights while doing our work and while doing the steps forward. That is something that is now occupying us constantly. But if I look forward, if I look at the 20th of July, the first whistle, I will be so proud. I will be so excited and so proud. And I am sure that we will give our best football. And hopefully that will be enough to give a very good game to an opponent who's absolutely ready. The host nation is there. The whole crowd will be behind Australia. But we all know that, well, maybe more than half of the people will have Irish backgrounds, and deep down inside they want us to do well also. And I think that vibe in the stadium is something that you cannot create other than experience it. So in that sense, that will be such an amazing and proud moment.
One of the things with this squad of players that's been very important to them is to be positive role models to young girls and boys, to inspire them to play football and to enjoy their football. How important is it for the World Cup qualification to inspire not just the younger generation to play football, but also coaches to get involved, and referees and women to showcase that women do have a place in the game in various different roles?
Yeah, I think that the people involved in the women's game cannot oversee what this moment will do for the future of football in Ireland. Because it's women's football. And it is a key moment that will change things. And you can see it in different things. The togetherness with the clubs, for example, that we're all behind this team, and that the clubs are giving moments from themselves to support their players to go to that World Cup and to be at their best at the World Cup. That they agree to have a break and to put in probably a shield to fill the gap that we have to train with each other, so that there cannot be a league. But we cannot have from early June to end of August no league. Mm-hmm. So they agreed to have a shield in, and let's go for that. The coaches, the female coaches that see now there's an opportunity to make steps forward. Another thing is going semi-pro. Being able to offer contracts, which means that you can keep the players longer, and that we do not lose the GSCUs to England and then having to make a huge step with, unfortunately, the injury as a result of it. So I think that this whole vibe of being a role model for little kids, showing that if you really, really want to achieve something, that everything is possible. And my slogan is always, everything is possible until the moment it shows that it's not possible. Everybody said we were crazy to go for it. Everybody said we couldn't make it. Everybody said, oh yeah, you're trying so well. But the World Cup is one step too far. And we've proven that if you really, really want something, that you can achieve it. And I think that message will give this game, will give the future of this game a boost that we cannot imagine yet which way it will go.
If 2022 was incredible, what could 2023 be?
The most exciting year ever.
Vera, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Merry Christmas to everybody.